Interesting developments just over this week. I mean, it's just kind of speculation, but is it informed speculation? Who knows? But Tom Brady, of course, is going to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a home playoff game against the LA Rams this weekend, Sunday. Should be a great game. And
but these playoffs we don't know because it's hit or miss, man. We've had
been a lot of
bad games.
Yep.
All right,
God, a lot of blowouts. But this weekend, you would expect, Rob. I mean, look, we got
the best 8 teams,
right? Exactly. So we would expect that these are good games,
right?
Yeah, and the Rams defense, look like it's turning the corner at the right time. Buccaneers, I was impressed with their defense. They shut down Philadelphia's run game. They got Shaq Barrett back. They got Levante David back. They got Jason Pierre-Paul back. And so they're rolling. And they still got some good receivers, even though they're without Antonio Brown, of course, and Chris Godwin. But either way, I think what's interesting is this week, there have been several people who have speculated that this could be Tom Brady's last season. So if they lose Sunday, it could be his last game. Seth Wickersham, and we've had Seth on the show, just wrote a great book about the Patriots, really plugged in. Rob, you remember when Seth was writing initially a few years ago that there were issues between Belichick and Brady.
Oh, yeah. No. He had it all laid out. He was well connected and had a lot of stuff. And that moved the needle, Chris. If I remember, that story moved the needle.
Yep. And there was a piece where ESPN writers and analysts offered their playoff predictions. All right. And he said he thinks that Tom Brady will retire after this season. Here's his quote. "This is just a hunch, but I'm predicting that this will be the last playoff run for 3 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks with their current teams. We know that the Steelers' Ben Roethlisberger will retire, but I think Tom Brady will too. And finally, Aaron Rodgers will leave Green Bay after another season without reaching the Super Bowl." All right. So he says he thinks Tom Brady's retiring after this season. Rob, what do you think about that?
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible. At this age, you get to a certain point, Chris. You've had a lot of success. You get older, your kids, you're not doing the stuff you want to do with them and family. And you wake up one day and you realize I might be a little selfish here. Like, I played a long career. I'm 44 years old. Especially if he gets, say, he loses to Matthew Stafford and the Rams or whatever, you might say, I never thought this would happen like this or whatever. And, what am I doing? Maybe I could snap out of it. When you keep winning, it's hard to walk away. It is, because you're still winning. So that might be a jolt of cold water on the face, Chris. And I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. I don't think it's a slam dunk either. And I think that stuff that he kind of put out there or some of the hypotheticals, you know what I mean? And things that you could easily counter and say he could be all wrong on all those predictions that he came up with. There's no reporting to that. This is just
it's just speculation. The things that Brady has said, Rob, in the past lead me to believe he'd be back. One of the things he said was, I don't want to play and suck, right? I don't want to suck. Well, he's far from that. Now, I get it. At a certain age, it might hit you, bam, like Peyton Manning. One year he was great. The next year he was struggling mightily. And they ended up winning a Super Bowl with him struggling. But still, individually, he fell off in a hurry. Right now, at least, though, Tom Brady, he's coming off a tremendous season. Probably won't win the MVP, but still, led the league in touchdowns, led the league in yards.
Probably?
Yeah, he probably won't.
Oh.
Yeah, I said probably. And, but still, a great year. So he's far from stinking or sucking, as he put it. He also has, long time, Rob, put out that number 45. He wants to play until he's 45. Now he's upped it, at least, thrown it out there that he might play longer. But, he's thrown that number out for so long that I would think he's going to play till he's 45, which would mean playing at least next season. And he also is under contract for another year. So those things lead me to believe that he still will want to come back and play. But I think he's going to look and see what they do in the offseason. Like if they lose this weekend, Rob, he certainly doesn't want to play and not compete for Super Bowls. That was part of why he did leave New England. I mean, there were a lot of reasons, but part of it was that, they didn't give him the weapons where he felt like he could compete. And I don't think he could compete for Super Bowls with that team. And so I think he's going to really want to see and maybe be involved in what Tampa Bay does in the offseason. But like you said, it's certainly possible anytime you're that
possible.
old.
I don't think it's out of the
old.
Yeah, when you're 44 and you wake up, or if you get banged up in that game or something, Chris, you could just snap and you could just say, all right, you know what? I'm good. Like I'm looking at what's going on, and the AB and Gronk might say, you know what, dude, I can't do this anymore. I came back. We won a championship. Gronk might say, I'm done. You know what I mean? And then It starts to become a chain reaction. You realize what you have together ain't going to be the same going forward. And maybe I don't want to be a part of this if we're not going to be in the mix.
Yeah, and some people have talked about, it's great to go out on top, right? It's romantic to go out on top.
Well, I think John Elway, when he did it, Chris, I thought he did it. He was in the Super Bowls before they couldn't win. Right. They won back-to-back, and he retired on top. John Elway, they could have come back and said, let's do it one more time. I was like, back-to-back Super Bowls was pretty damn impressive, and he went out as a winner. And when I think of John Elway, I don't think of the 3 blowouts, Chris.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't you? You think of the last 2?
No, we think of the last 2.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't, he played a great role because he was a fantastic quarterback. But Terrell Davis was a big part of those, Terrell Davis, those championship teams
doubt.
as far as the running back. But, yeah, you're right. We do really think of Elway and those last 2 championships. And obviously, look, nothing Brady does is going to make us not think about him winning these Super Bowls. But and I think if they lose, Rob, whether it's this week, next week, whenever, he's going to go. If he were to retire this year, he'd be going out on top. I mean, with the way he played this year, with the Super Bowl last year, and some sort of playoff run this season, he would be going out on top. And that sounds great. And you mentioned Elway, and he did do it. But, Rob, it's a lot. It's tough to go out on top. You'd rather go out on top because you don't want to look bad ever. But, man, it's hard. I mean, people might bring up Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, but they were in bad situations. They're tired of not winning, and they just, that's part of why they walked away. You know that as well as anyone.
Right.
Michael Jordan went out on top. I mean, you couldn't go out any better than Jordan hitting the shot against Utah, Rob.
No,
and it looked like he was going out right. But then what happened? He ended up coming back. Because I think the challenge with going out on top is that you've got something left. So when you get away from it, you might be tired, you might be worn down, you might be burnt out after the season and say, I'm done. But then you sit back and you watch the next year and you're not playing, and you see guys playing that you still could be better than, and you left something on the table. I think that's the draw. You remember this, Robin. All of our younger viewers might not. Jim Brown went out on top.
Right.
Russian leader and all that, and retired. He went to do, Hollywood, blaxploitation superstar he became.
But he was making more money doing that than playing in the NFL. The
it was
NFL
a different
money.
NFL back then.
Like he went to Hollywood and he doubled his salary. It wasn't even like, why would you leave football?
And that's a big part of why he left, right? But what happened when in the 70s, or was it the early 80s, whenever it was, 48 years old, I can beat Franco Harris in the 40-yard dash. And he raced. Give Franco credit for even taking him up on the offer. But they raced, Rob, national television in a 40-yard dash. Of course, Franco won, and Jim Brown pulled up a bit lame with his hamstring. But my point is, he still felt like he had something in the tank. And that's what's hard to do. So I don't know. I mean, will Brady retire on top? That would be a great ending. There's nothing left for him to prove. Rob, even if Brady wins, let's say he wins the Super Bowl this year.
No, let's not.
It ain't enhancing his legacy, any. I mean, is it? It's great. I mean, it's just, my goodness, this is ridiculous. This dude has 8 championships. But does it enhance his legacy at all?
I mean, I don't like.
I mean, I guess a little, but
I guess a little bit, but it's not going to change, right? Anything else. Right.
He's viewed widely as the GOAT. I mean, he's won more Super Bowls than any franchise. So
cheated more Super Bowls than anybody else in the league. It would just be one
more. I don't know about all that, but it would just be one more that he's got. You know,
I like the way I tried to slick that in, and you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But so I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I think it's certainly something to ponder. I just think here's what I'll say, Rob. I think he's playing so well that win or lose, I don't think he retires. Or certainly lose, I don't think he retires. But period. I think he's coming back next year.
Yeah. I'm not as confident as you. I think it's game by game when you get that age, Chris, and depending on what's happening and you start to look around and you see what's happening, you also don't want to be involved in all that. I think the AB thing, I'm sure he's not that happy about how that just went down and, and kind of got called out. Not that it's going to be like the end of the world.
Yeah, but then now AB's back like, yo,
no,
that's
I
my
know,
boy.
But I'm just saying, it's like sometimes you stick around too long. You know what I mean? Like you just feel like
it's time. You think he has?
I'm just saying.
I mean, I know you want him out, but
I thought he was going to retire 10 years ago. Are you kidding? I'll take him on the lunar moon shuttle if I get a ticket for me and him. I'll leave him and LeBron on Mars if I could.
My goodness.
Oh, Steph too. He'll be the other guy.
We're going to throw it out to you guys.